Africa, say it louder. Say it Salam alaikum. 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 Assalamu alaikum.
United we stand, divided we fall. All we need is freedom. All we need is freedom. Free Africans free. Free Africans free.
Be free, be free, free from slavery. Free, be free, be free, free from slavery. Free, free yourself from mental slavery. Free, free yourself from mental slavery. Free, free yourself from mental slavery. Free, be free, be free, free from slavery. Be free, be free, free from slavery. Yeah.
We're here to speak the word. We're here to stop the war. We're here to speak the word. We're here to stop the war. We're here to speak the word. We're here to stop the war.
Salam alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. Salam alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. Salam alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. Salam alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum, African one. If you wanna be free, the most simplest one in the world. Get yourself the better with the reggae music coming straight to you from the one of the most peaceful man. So many lying down on the streets, whatever them with their guns in the hands. Get yourself the most free time. I preach about freedom. Preach about freedom.
We're here to speak the word. We're here to stop the war. We're here to speak the word. We're here to stop the war. We're here to speak the word. We're here to stop the war.
Take a look on the street and say, listen, youth. Stop violence, they say, listen. You have to listen and be a man. The music we are doing is not a music for fun. We are preaching, hear it loud and clear. Hey, nice.
Good morning. Time now, it is 9:38 a.m. in the nation capital, Juba. Today, concerned citizen of South Sudan here is live with this very important topic. As you can see below the screen there, our topic of today, any peace agreement in South Sudan without the mechanism of implementation, of course, that freedom of expression and political space will not be materialized. Of course, we are saying this because we know what we are talking about. I welcome all of the viewers of Concerned Citizens of South Sudan, wherever they tune in today. نرحب بكم في كل مكان. viewers of Concerned Citizens of South Sudan. اليوم الاثنين 20 من شهر مايو سنة 2024. وكما ترون في أسفل الشاشة أنا قلت إنه أي اتفاقية سلام دون آلية التنفيذ ليس هنالك أي جدوى. بهذه الاتفاقية. لذلك أردنا أن نعمل لايف ابيسود اليوم عشان نقدر نفيدكم بما يدور في مفاوضات في نيروبي. So today we also will address and comment about the negotiation that is taking place actually in Nairobi, Kenya, South Sudanese political movements, alliances, oppositions in Nairobi versus the government of South Sudan. As I said, without any peace agreement in South Sudan, without the implementation, without any mechanism of implementation, will never, I said one more time, succeed. And the reason I'm saying that, many of you may recall the agreement of 2015, the agreement that ended up with the dogfight in 2016, the agreement that President Kiir actually have said clearly, this is not a holy Quran or a holy Bible, which is indicate that anytime he can abolish it. But actually he was right from the get-go. And that's why the dogfight broke out on July 2016. Resulted in a loss of life, resulted in a chaotic situation, resulted of forcing his first vice president and the chairman of the SPLM-IO to run to Congo, and later went to Khartoum, and again declare the war. And the government, again, when they were going through really, really deep hardship, which is, I do see the same history repeating itself again, like what happened really in 2017 and 2018, when the oil was shut down by al-Bashir, and then Juba did not have any money to survive, and Dr. Riek Machar at that time, he was on confinement in Pretoria, South Africa. Then President Kiir actually came out with a new political tactic, to bring him, and pretended that there is a peace agreement actually to be signed in Khartoum, which is actually they succeeded in their political tactic, political deception, I should say. And they signed a deal of 2018. But again, it was not, and they did not implement peace agreement of 2018. 70% of ARCs has not been implemented. And that's why today we are putting this topic, because when you are lacking the mechanism of implementation, no matter how many peace deals you sign, no matter how deals you sign, and there is no mechanism that can pressure to make sure the deal that was signed can be implemented, then there is no any way out. I should say there is no guarantee whatsoever for all this. So, 2015 peace agreement was not implemented, and President Kiir made it clear that actually he's not interested. And when Michael McQuilwet spoke in Addis Ababa in 2017, when he said that President Kiir is not ready to work with Dr. Riek Machar because Riek Machar has done damages and has done much enough. And they were right. That's why they did not want it to work. It was a political tactic, bringing him from Pretoria and sign that fake deal. Why I'm calling it fake deal? Because they did not believe, the government did not believe that actually they want to do something. But they were forced because economic hardship forced them to go and strike that deal. We knew it from the get-go. And I personally did the live broadcast, and I talk about it, that actually this deal is not going to be implemented because there was no good faith whatsoever on that peace agreement. And we have realized that political deception has been used over and over again by the government, by President Salva Kiir himself. You remember the Arusha deal that was signed to unify the SPLM? What happened to that? It was not implemented. 2015 was not implemented. Also tried to abolish the peace agreement deal of 2015, abolish it and initiated something new, which is national dialogue. When President stood tall before the National Legislative Assembly on December 14, 2016, and he made it clear that we are launching national dialogue, and national dialogue is going to be the way forward. Knowing that there is a peace agreement actually has signed, and if a peace agreement has to be implemented, and then there is no need for any another initiative. But people of South Sudan always are very generous. They have patience, right? And they have empathy. So they want to walk you, as Jesus said, if somebody asks you to walk 1 mile, walk with him 2 miles. So people of South Sudan say, okay, fine. If that's what you want, Mr. President, we give you respect. You fought for this country for 38 years, 17 years on Anyanya 1, and then 21 years on liberation struggle. Okay, we go for it. You abolished the peace agreement of 2015, and now you initiated something else. And then they went through 29 counties in South Sudan. And the bigger question, I wanted to refresh your memories. The bigger question was asked on National Dialogue campaign was what went wrong? The question was, what went wrong in the country? What went wrong in the newborn country? And ordinary citizens, people of South Sudan, without any hesitation, their answer was grand corruption, mismanagement, war. And grand corruption was a big thing, and lack of services. And the SPLM party has failed miserably. People of South Sudan has said that SPLM party, the ruling party, has failed. We know SPLM party is not even the one that ruling. They are individuals from here and there, some NCP and some from nowhere. So people of South Sudan walked president 2 miles instead of 1 mile. And actually they made it clear, if South Sudan has to see the light at the end of the tunnel, if South Sudan has to move forward, we cannot move forward with this leadership in place, because they are the source of the problem. They created communal violence. They loot the country. They created war. They don't have what it takes to move this country to the next level. They haven't diversified economy. What they were doing, they were just enriching themselves. They were looting. They were doing such a thing. Because of that, people of South Sudan clearly said, President Kiir, Dr. Yamusha, they must exit political life. They must exit political life. But when President Kiir knew that the results is not on his favor, he took the results of National Dialogue Steering Committee and he put it in the drawer, in the drawer. And then up to date, no one have ever talked about the National Dialogue. National Dialogue died because people of South Sudan have spoken and they said President Kiir and his government are the problem and they must exit political life. If we really wanted to see light, if we really want this country to go to the next level. Without that, we'll always be down. Corruption will rampant, will continue. The war, the killing, the looting. South Sudan will not be respected, with the neighbors, international arena. And yes, people of South Sudan, they were right. They were right. The situation has deteriorated. The economic continue to melt down. right? And if I can read to you, actually, how our pound, South Sudanese pound, used to be, some of you may be shocked by this. In 2011, when we gained our independence, South Sudan economy was bigger than Kenya, Uganda, Ethiopia. 3 countries combined. Our economy was bigger than these three countries. Imagine Uganda, Kenya, Ethiopia combined in 2011 when we gained our independence. When we gained our independence, we were producing more than 250,000 barrels of oil daily. So, to give the companies whatever the processing fees to Sudan and all these oil companies, South Sudan used to make at least $120 million per day. So we were at surplus economically. We were doing very, very well. But since then, the looting started, corruption. Of course, the neighboring countries are benefiting from us. We got to the point that we were not even able to make the payment, the dues that we are a member of Eastern Africa community. But Eastern Africa community, they don't want to kick us out because actually they are benefiting from us. Keep them here because these are the guys that actually we are able to get some. Because Uganda is the one that's supplying with the commodities, with Matoko and all these Sukumawiki, all these stupid things that actually we don't need in South Sudan. Because our land is fertile, 80%, we can grow anything. Anything that coming out of the soil is good in South Sudan. So they kept us there actually because they benefit from us. So again, political deception have been used by this government for a very long time. It's been signing peace deal and no implementation. And many of you may be wondering why there's so many, oppositions to the government. And people would say, oh, even I've heard that when they were going for peace negotiation in Nairobi, and the process supposed to be inclusive, according to what I've been hearing on the talk always. Oh, we are inclusive. We try to be inclusive. And even the government is denying. They said they don't even know those of UCC, those of Jonkor, the one that have been campaigning actually for 8 years here. They said they don't know us. Of course, if you are busy looting, how are you going to know about people actually talking on the behalf of the people of South Sudan? And those who are competing actually to get what they wanted to get the share of the lion, they've been using, what I call tribal political calculation. But I'm not going to continue on that anyway, because I don't see anything happening. So, political deception have been used for quite some time. And actually today, I'm going to focus more on that. That actual peace agreement, without implementation, they don't mean nothing. And if we really, I'm addressing the opposition who are in Nairobi. If you are really there, and if you care about the people of South Sudan, and then you need to think deeply. And then you need to have that passion. And then you need to have empathy. With that, I think you will be able to make a right decision. South Sudan just don't need, peace deal, because there are so many peace deals that have been signed without being honored. So what we need to find the mechanism to implement this deal. I know Uganda can say that I will be grantor. Kenya can say I will be grantor. Ethiopia can say I will be grantor. IGAD, they can say that. Ismail White can say that. Chair of Africa can say that. But really, do they have a mechanism to force this or to make that pressure, to make it happen for the peace deal can be implemented? Do they have? Okay, if they do, what happened to 2015 peace agreement and they were grantor? Even Troika, they were grantor. What happened to peace agreement of 2018? And Uganda were, grantor of that peace agreement. What happened? I know they don't have tools or pressure to use because it's all about interest in the region. So many people have been bribed. We know that. They get the cash out, they get their big check, and who care to the hell to the people of South Sudan? As long the government is paying check, to the regional bloc, and then it's okay. We can just say that we want to go to peace talk, and then we sign a peace deal. Let them go in. South Sudanese is their affair anyway. If they don't have their own willingness, if their own government doesn't care about their own people, why should we care? And this is what I see actually in the region. And that's why nothing is working. And that's why I want to address my brothers and sisters who are there in who are there in Nairobi today. I did this show, daylight in night here, and it's daylight there. So many of you can watch it. So many of you can get this message. Politician capital. Razmal bita siyasin, their capital. It is an ideas, right? It's ideas. But how your ideas can be used to benefit the population or to rescue the country, or the country to create a developmental project, or to have a good governance, or to have a permanent constitution, a constitution that actually will guarantee fundamental right to your own people. How? It happened when there is a campaign, but above all, there is no way you can sell your ideas, political ideas, if there is no political space. If there is no freedom of expression, if there is no way you can assemble, if there is no way you can travel within the state of South Sudan, if there is no way you can go from county to county, Payam to Payam, state, town to town, there is no way you can sell your ideas. And if there is no way you can sell your ideas, and then what you are doing, the peace deal that you are signing, or the peace deal that you are negotiating, again, it will not be implemented. Because some may sign a peace deal and they may go into Juba and they will dance Kumbaya with Salva Kiir. Of course, I don't want to dance Kumbaya. I want to dance Mabok. That's my favorite. I'm a South Sudanese, right? And then, if you cannot have a political seminar, if you cannot have a political rally, if you cannot have a meeting in your own house, not just only house, I mean the party, center, if you cannot have those, because national security does not allow you to do so, then how are you going to sell the ideas? Then how are you going to tell the population about the peace that you sign? Then how are you going to push this peace to be implemented? You cannot. And that's why I'm saying, since the beginning of this program, make sure that the freedom of expression, the political space, the freedom of expression, and the freedom of assembling is guaranteed on the, interim constitution of South Sudan, 2011, amended 2015, at least that guaranteed. And the national security must be abolished. And national security has no right to arrest people just for simply for brainstorming, talking about the country, economy, and hardship that people are going through. No, it is not their job to arrest people because people are talking about the affairs of their country. No, their job, they call it national security. The nation security is has something to do with food security, has something to do, people are doing forgery, people are buying gun, people are shooting people. These are the most important thing that they are doing. Crimes, even not just crime, underground crime, the crime that we cannot see as a citizen, as civilian. These are the things that they're supposed to be investigating and bring them to the police, and police will take them to the court. But ordinary citizen, talking about the affair of the country, criticizing the president, criticizing the minister, criticizing the institution in the country, should not and cannot be arrested because these are fundamental rights. These are universal rights. Right of expression. You can express yourself, how you feel about your country, how you feel about the economic hardship that you're going through, how you feel about the political, how you feel about the governance, how you feel about the laws, how you feel about the corruption. You have right. But unfortunately, in South Sudan, you can't talk. You can't talk about this. You cannot assemble at the universities. You cannot have a political debate or a seminar at the university level, whether at the University of Juba or University of Bahar Ghazal or University of Upper Nile or University of Jongarang, technology, science of technology, any university. All these are forbidden. If you do such, national security will appear and you will be arrested. And that's why I'm repeating it again. These are the priority. Freedom of expression, freedom of assembling. We want to have that an opportunity. You, as an opposition or a citizen or a leader or academia, somebody with an ideas, you have an opportunity. You're supposed to have an opportunity to speak before the people. So you can tell your ideas, you can sell your ideas, you can see what we can benefit. You can tell us how this country can move, right? Because if people are not speaking, then how are you going to know who is talented, who is not talented? How are you going to know who is really have capability to do something and who does not? Because everybody is silent, because everybody is afraid. And if everybody is afraid, we are not going to know who is who. Okay? I can, I graduate from university and I have, my degree and all these things. I have done homework and I'm okay. But there is a difference between academic, you have that certificate and you be giving that opportunity to go there before the people with your own and talk to the people. And you will be asked question instantly. Instantly, you will be asked a question. A journalist will ask you a question. If something happened today, if there is a big earthquake in Juba and you are a mayor of Juba City, what would you do? Do we have emergency reserve for innocent? These are the questions. These are innocent questions that will come when you are a leader. If people are not being given opportunity to speak, to brainstorm, how are you going to know who is who? You're not going to know who is who. You're not going to know who is talented. You're just going to continue to bring people from your family, nepotism, your cousin, your whatever, your in-laws, and put them in position without no knowledge, and they don't do nothing. And what they do is just to loot and steal for themselves. And that what we reject. And that what is taking our country backward. And that's why South Sudan keep going backward. That's why South Sudan is going forward. You see. So my brothers and sisters, I will keep repeating this. Your priority on this negotiation is the freedom of expression. And you have to find the mechanism of implementation, the deal that you are going to sign. But if you ignore that, and if you neglect that, and if you say, no, everything is going to be fine, like what happened with Dr. Riek Machar when he signed a deal of 2018, and there was no security arrangement, there was no mechanism of implementing the peace agreement, and just got in, then you will be in confinement So Dr. Riek Machar now from confinement in Pretoria to confinement in Juba. So you are going to be the same. And I bet maybe you are talking with brothers from the SPLMIO in Juba. They are already telling you, hey, brothers, you are there in the hotel in Olsen, in Nairobi. Watch out. Don't be lured in without really guarantee that this peace deal that you are signing is going to be implemented or that it's freedom of expression. Because if President Kiir can go and campaign in Wau and go and campaign, or will go to Kwajok and go all these areas. And Riek Machar, okay, Riek Machar, the partner of peace, the partner in the government, cannot be allowed to go. Even though when he get invited by his own governor, who he appointed, by his own governor of Western Barakazal, Sarah Keleto, when he invited Dr. Riek Machar to go for inauguration, for instance, for thing to do in the state of Western Barakazal, because that's the governor that Dr. Riek Machar appointed. But he will be prevented, has been prevented. So what do you think, my friend? What do you think, my brother? If that's what you want to do, I'm just giving you an ideas. I'm just giving you an ideas. That is the area that you should focus. And I give you a hint a little bit earlier that actually those leaders in the region, they care less about South Sudan, whether it's IGAD, whether it's these countries, because they see food in South Sudan. They see money in South Sudan. That's what they see. They don't see people who are suffering. No. What they see is dollars, is money. That South Sudan is just money. That's what they see. Somebody can be written a check. Or Uganda is full of bringing commodities. Right? Now I'm hearing that Uganda actually, because they knew Ethiopia is working hard with Renaissance Dam. Now they are going to, to bring electricity to South Sudan, and then South Sudan will pay them. Now Uganda is start, importing importing electricity to South Sudan, right? Because they knew it's all about competition. Like I said, they see South Sudan is money. They see South Sudan is a food. That's the only something that they see. That's why I'm saying that you now on the region, you can see them straight on the eyes. You can talk to those leaders there and talk to them and say, look, don't see us just a food. We are your people. We share the common good in the region. We have people who are suffering. Don't treat us just a milk, okay, or honey. Just treat the suffering people here. Don't fool us, because you know there is something you will get from South Sudan. You have an opportunity. Those of you who have gone there, you have that opportunity to talk to these leaders in the region, whether to talk to Ruto or to talk to those, representatives coming from these respective countries, whether Ethiopia, Uganda, Burundi, and Rwanda, and Congo. You have that opportunity to raise, beyond and said, you know what? We have seen a lot of bad things are happening, and you guys are in charge of the region. You are the actors. You are the head of state. You are, chairperson, chairwoman, and all this in the region. But you are not doing what meant to be true leaders, true leadership in the region, because people are suffering. But that's not your focus. Your focus actually to please the leader, to please South Sudan president, to please those who are, in control, because you are inclined with them. They are helping you. They are just, for some reason, they are giving you something, and then you just neglect, the region. You need to look in them straight on their eyes and speak and say, enough is enough. We need your help. And that help is by not involving in corruption, by treating people of South Sudan as people of the region, people who are suffering. Because you have been bribed for a very long time. You have been bribed for a very long time. You said you are there for us. You said that you will guarantee you witness, and you will be this, and you'll be this. But unfortunately, you did not do anything. I know we are not there, and we are opposition. We are not there. And if I am there, I will speak this word to those leaders too. As an opposition leader in my own political movement, UCC, I will do so. But now, since we are not there, but you have that obligation, you have that moral courage to do so. This is the message that I want to tell you. Okay? This is the message that I wanted to tell you. But if some of you felt like there is a fatigue, if they felt they become more fatigued and they wanted to rush, they wanted to go to Juba, maybe things are going to be okay, I wanted to go to Juba, let them ask Dr. Yang Mashar and those who are in, what had happened to the deal that they have signed? Has that deal been implemented? And if not, and why? And we can see, we know exactly what's happening. So be serious. Be serious. Political space is top number one. Freedom of expression is number one. Again, freedom of assembling is number one. We need that space as the people of South Sudan to debate, to ask ourselves a question. What went wrong? And why are we so like this? And why there is a corruption? And why are we not thinking about the future of the country? We need to be able to ask this question. We need to have that conversation. We need to have this narrative, among ourselves in Juba, in Wau, in Awil, in Malakal, in Torit, in Yambio, in all this town, in Yei. We need to have that. But in order for that to happen, you might push harder, I must push harder. But now you have that ability negotiating with the government to push that harder, that we need that political space. Number one, before anything, that should be the priority. And if that political space is guaranteed, we are going to have conversation without any intimidation, without national security arresting somebody, without somebody just intimidating you, then I think we are going to have a talented, and we are going to have an ideas. Because these ideas now, everybody buried his head in Juba, in the sand, and he cannot talk because there is no way they can do it. We need an opportunity to be able to go to Freedom Hall, the only hall that we know in Juba, Freedom Hall, to have a political debate there. And instead, just wedding every day, or a new singer, or just, concert. People are singing concert. We need to have that ideas, debate ideas. What can we do to diversify our economy? What can we do to farm so we can produce our own food locally? What can we do, to have a smaller production within the country? What can we do? Let's have that debate. I wanted to see that. I want to be able yet to rent that the hall, to have a political seminar, so we can bring people with ideas and talk, and people will take a note and listen. Not just political theory, but practical thing that actually will help our population. These are things that we needed. That's why we need that political space. But without any political space, we will not. We don't need just Freedom Hall to be only for cultural dancing, Madinga Cultural Day, Tweed Mayadid Cultural Day, Wala Tweed Cultural Day, or Bor or Bari Cultural Day. Yes, we know that. That's good too. But we need to have a debate. We need to have a debate at the university level. We need to rent that hall to do something tangible that can help our country. Open up freedom of expression. Even the Sudan that we broke away from, they were not like this, the way now President Kiir is governing the country. There was freedom of expression. People can speak. You can have actually a political, debate within the university, or even in the neighborhood. You can talk. But national security or the security of the country will not come and pick you up and throw you in cobra. No, they will not do that. They will not go to the university and arrest students. They will not do that. They will not intimidate people from talking. Sudan that we came out, Sudan that we break away from. They were a window of expression. People can talk. They can assemble. Dr. John Garang voice recording, it used to be played at the universities. And he was a rebel leader, right? Now, can my voice, even non-violence, campaign that I'm doing here, can my voice can be played at the University of Juba or the University of Barakazal? Can? No. Even a telephone conversation. When somebody talking to me and somebody else hear him say, oh, are you talking to Jonko? Oh, in Jagat, are you become a rebel? Simply because he talked to Jonkor. You see, because he talked to Jonkor alone. You see where we are? So, my brothers, you need to do better on that negotiation. You know it very well. You know it very well. We are going backward. And that's why I'm saying we have figures here, when we gain independence, South Sudan pound was equal $1 in 2011. It was £2, which is mean $100 is 200 South Sudanese pound. You see, and that's why I told you from the beginning, South Sudan economy was bigger than Uganda, Kenya, Ethiopia, 3 countries. 2011, when we gained our independence, we were producing more. We have enough, but there was mismanagement. That's why we keep going down. Corruption and mismanagement. That's why we keep going down. Look, in 2012, it's because bad things are happening, but the leadership didn't realize that. They know bad things are happening, but they didn't care. Look, this should have been like when South Sudan pound was going down, it should have been like an alarm to them. Red flag, should have been a red flag. From 2011, $100 equal to 200 South Sudanese pound. So in 2012, $100 become 250 pound. So that alone, it should have been a red flag. And then the country should have sit down and said, why is it happening? Our pound is going down. US dollar was £2. Now our pound is going down. What is it? What are we doing wrong? Let's sit down. Let's reassess ourselves. It didn't happen because we have lack of leadership. We don't have good leadership in the country, right? Because we don't have even the freedom of expression. Because when people are allowed to speak and express themselves, good ideas come out. And that good ideas, we will use them for our benefit, for our growth, for our plan. Okay? As I said, that red flag in 2012 alone would have triggered the government to say, okay, if that's the case, how can we keep our currency stable, not to go down? Then a lot of economists, a lot of people with good brain, they would say, okay, this is what we do. Now we are ignoring the bigger part of the economy that actually can help our population. What is it? We need to farm. We need to be able to feed our population from what we make. We have a soil, we have rain, we have river, we have all these things. Then why not? A will rise scheme. There's so many farm and rang and all these things. Why not using it? Make it a policy of the government. If they would have done that, and then our pound would have been stronger. Why I'm saying that? Because when you take the oil money, okay, for salaries and government operational, and then again, you come up with something called businessmen, and you give them some money and tell them that go and buy commodities from the neighboring countries, to buy wheat, to buy flour, to buy, medicine, fruit, vegetables, meat, fish. And you have your own. You have fish here. You can raise your own chicken here. and you are bringing flour from outside, and you can grow. You can grow fatarita, you can grow maize, you can grow all these things, wheat. You can farm it in South Sudan. You can do all this, right? And that's how we lost it, because there's no leadership. Why? Because that leadership, actually, they are pleasing the leader of this country, because that's where their children are going to, because that's where they are stealing the money and they are building nice palaces, houses. They are pleasing them. You ignore to build your own, to build good education system, to build schools, to build road. Because when you build a school, you don't need to take your child to Uganda or Kenya. South Sudan has the best teachers. We have learned from South Sudanese. We do. Those who have taught us are South Sudanese. And those who taught you are South Sudanese. Right? But you ignore your own, but because you don't want to. You want to be a separate class. But it would have been good to build these schools. Then your children and the children of martyrs and the poor children, then they can go to the same school. They can get good education together. You would have built this hospital, because we had a lot of money. As I said, our economy was stronger than Kenya and Uganda and Ethiopia combined. Good hospital would have been built. And let me tell you one thing. Those Kenyan teachers or Ugandan teachers that you are obsessed with, they would have come and teach here, because they are looking for employment opportunity. If they are looking for employment opportunity, they will come to our country. You don't take the child to where the teacher is. Bring the teacher, because you will pay them salaries. When you build that good schools, and we build even apartment, and that Kenyan teacher or Ugandan teacher will spend half of his salary here, because he will rent here. He has to sleep here. He has to live here. He has to eat here and dine here and drink here, right? And then who is the beneficiary? Is you. But when you take your money, you take your child there, and you take your money there, what do you expect is going to happen? You are draining your economy. This is simple arithmetic. You are draining it. You are taking your child to that country. You are taking your wife to that country. You are renting a house there. So you pay rent. You pay school fees. You pay food. You pay transportation. So all the money you make, you are spending it in Uganda. All the money director make, you are spending it in Kenya. You spend it in South Africa. You spend it in Dubai, in Malaysia. Then what are you doing? Have you ever asked yourself a question? Why am I doing this? And yet you say that, oh, we are a free economy. How can you be a free economy and you don't produce anything? And you don't have capitalism? Even your own citizen, they don't have money. You don't lend them a lot money so they can start, a business. How you can be a free capitalist economy? And then now you have Ugandan, you have Ethiopian, you have Eritrean, you have Somali. They will come because they have money with their capital money. They will come, they invest in the country. And when they invest in the country, they take their money out, because this money is not belong to your citizen. They take them out. You see, mismanagement. You don't think, you don't see. Right? And then when we say something wrong, this is not okay, you say, oh, we know. We know. What happened to what we know since 2005? When we talk to you, you say, Comrade, we know. You don't know nothing. You don't know nothing. If you knew, it wouldn't get to this stage now we are in right now. Again, let me go and read to you. In 2013, also $100 become 350 pounds. So every year keep going down. In 2014, let's say 2013, there is war that you have created, the government. 2014, it went down. $100 become 600 pounds. Okay. In 2015, $100 become 5,000. And 2016, it become 10,000. 2017, and become 15,000. Wow. And 2018, it become 21,000. And yet that the peace deal was signed, to bring stability, but yet the economy not changing because people were, just dividing the money of oil, and there was no production. There was no diversification of economy. So whatever happened in 2012, that's the first red flag. It didn't. It didn't even sound alarm to you as a leadership to say our economy is going to crash and we must do something. You did not do anything. You did not care. You were just on the red carpet, flying outside, meeting the world dignitaries. And you didn't care. Nobody cared. And they say, oh, yeah, we are doing okay. We are fine. We are good. We are fine. You are not fine, my brother. You are not fine. And you don't even want to allow window of discussion so you can be corrected. You see? So the situation got deteriorated. Economic, it went down all the way until, as I speak today, in year of 2024, 100 US dollars become 400,000 South Sudanese pound. And it will still going down. It will still going down. Because those manipulators, they are not leaders. They don't hear with their ears. They don't. And they don't even care. As long as they have money that they have stolen, they just want to be in power. And they are not even willing, to have that discussion, how this thing can be reassessed and fixed so we can fix it and get back. And they don't want that. And that's why actually what people of South Sudan have said during the national dialogue, when they said that if we want this country to go, and then there is a need for this current leadership to exit. Seriously, that's what needed to happen. And if it's not happening, signing peace deal without implementation, with no mechanism, to implement it, is not going to do anything. And that's why I say the top priority is people of South Sudan to be given an opportunity, freedom of expression, political space, to have a dialogue among themselves within the country. They can talk, they can say, they can object, they can say, no, this is not right. I did not say anything. It's not a violent. When people talk, when people exchange ideas, when people debate, then solution will come out. And also, as a UCC, as a chairman of UCC, the solution for this country, this is what we have proposed. We can negotiate with the government. And that negotiation must result on a constitutional conference. And within that constitutional conference, a lot of ideas will emerge. Whether constitutional conference will be conducted in the neighboring country or within the country, we have to find a safe haven for that. And that constitutional conference will come out with a good recommendation. And that good recommendation actually to form a government of mandate, government that have a specific task. And that specific task is to write permanent constitution, conduct a census in the country, draw a geographical constituencies, because presentation is based on population, should be, right? That's what needed to happen. And reconcile among people of South Sudan, a real reconciliation that will take place from town to town, payam, state to state. Real, not a fake one. Okay? And stabilize the country security-wise. And then they can prepare the country for parliamentary election and presidential election. And those who will be in that government specific task cannot run for any coming election. That coming election, they will not. Then when election is finished, they will be able to hand the country, to hand the government to a real elected official. That's the right footing. That's the fresh footing. That's the new beginning. If we need South Sudan to be rescued, that's the only way. Don't tell me we can just let Mr. President continue and add more vice president and add more minister and add more this. Nothing is going to result on it. because you need people with a specific mandate to do the job, and these people are doing the job. They are not going to run for an election, so they can focus. This is their own only job that they can do, and then when they are done with the job, they hand the country to elected officials to avoid any conflict of interest, to avoid any corruption. But it might happen in a very conducive environment, and that's why I'm saying that position of UCC, United Citizens for Change, is to have that constitutional conference that will include civil society, all political opposition, all political parties in the country, SPLM, the religious leaders, the medical doctors, health, whatever. Even Nazbita Bakar, cows, we can bring some of them, chief, whatever, because we need to have that debate. We need to have that debate in the people of South Sudan. They need to come together. That's the only way. That's the only way. Because with this mess that we are in, there is no another path here. No. And no one should be left behind. You cannot come here and say, oh, I am a historic leaders. I am the one that have a say. Those are young. Those they were not in Bill Farm. They were not with us. No. That mentality alone, that's what put us behind. When people say where they were, well, some people, they were Khartoum, they were fighting too. Like my uncle used to give you an instruction when the enemy is coming to attack. You know what I'm talking about. A lot of students, they were doing a lot of good work in Khartoum. Those citizens in the villages, they were contributing their chickens and their cows and food to you, soldiers and officers. So we are all contributing to this country. No one should say that, oh, I have played a bigger role than other one. We all contributed. We lost 2.5 million. No family in South Sudan has not lost a child, has not lost a young man in the war of liberation struggle. Don't tell me that you're the one that fought for this country. We all fought for this country. And we voted together. And we were able to achieve it together. So don't come and tell me that I wanted to reward myself. We all supposed to be the dividends of this independent people of South Sudan. Service is delivering. Look, I'm hearing now the flood. Uganda wanted to release the water again, like what they did a couple of years back, because they want people of South Sudan to suffer. And I don't hear any leadership doing any serious talk with Ugandans. I hear that report from the World Bank. I read it, but they are not saying anything. But with a lot of money that wasted, $4 billion, South Sudan actually can create its own dam, hydropower dam, so we can produce electricity. We can do that. We can create artificial lakes, especially in the greater Upper Niles. If you create more artificial lakes, and then you get rid of issues of flooding. You get rid of issue of flooding. Artificial lake doesn't cost a lot. You can have, let's say, 35 lakes in Jonglei State. That will reduce, so-called flooding that is happening, because Uganda, when they release the water from the Ginger dam, it's likely people in Jonglei, people in Warab, they are likely to be affected by that. You know what I'm saying? So it's so important. And that's why we need this change. And that change is not going to come like that. If people incompetence are still in charge, and they are pushing people with good ideas out, actually, they don't even want to hear them. They don't even want to hear them. It becomes like, oh no, he knows a lot. And you know what? If they come here, he will take my space. Hey, Siabi, you are dumb. It's not about your space. It's about South Sudan to grow. It's about us. It's not about you. It's not about me. It's about us as a country. But they are resisting. That's what incompetent people do. They don't allow people, to debate and share their ideas. And that's why, one more time, I want to conclude by this. To you, the opposition leaders, those who are in Nairobi, I will repeat it again. Talk to these leaders in the region. Those who see South Sudan as just as a source of food, of money, and they don't see suffering of people of South Sudan. Talk to them. Talk to them. Say we are people of the region, and anything that affecting South Sudan, it will affect you later. Right? I know now you may be benefiting from the money that you are getting from the UN because you hosted refugees in Uganda, in Kenya, in Ethiopia. You may be excited about this. You may be excited by South Sudan actually is not producing food locally, and then South Sudan become a consuming country, is a market. Is the one that you are taking your stuff, market. But that's not a mutual interest. If we are really sharing the region and we are in the one community, East African community, it should be based in mutual interest between us. And that's why those leaders who are there, if you really have that courageous and you are compassionate about South Sudan, and if you care about South Sudan, and if you have empathy about people are suffering in South Sudan, this should be your priority. Talk to those leaders. And again, number two, you need make sure that if you sign a peace deal, there is a mechanism of implementation, the deal that you are going to sign. And you, my brothers, again, and you need to prioritize the agenda of the freedom of expression. Because if you go into Juba, if you sign a peace deal, and you are not allowed to speak, and you are not allowed to assemble, and you are not allowed to move, and then that peace deal is dead since it was born. Then it's dead. You need to have that ability to move, to talk to people. So people within the country will have that interaction with you, and they would say, oh yeah, this is what we want for our country. And now if you do that, you are building a coalition. You are building more people more are become more educated about the issues, and that actually will change something. That's what a leader can do. Because as I said from the beginning, your capital is your ideas. It's not money. It's nothing. You're a politician, a position leader. Your capital is your ideas. And if you are not allowed to speak, and then you are not going to, there is no benefit. Which is your benefit, supposed benefit of people of South Sudan, selling the ideas. That's what we want. And that's why you should prioritize freedom of expression, freedom of assembling, freedom of movement. We can change things through that. That is the priority. That's the priority. And make it a priority to those who guarantee the peace. And make it a priority also to let them know, the regional leaders. Like I said, regional leaders, they need to come to their senses. People of South Sudan are suffering. Don't see South Sudan as a source of income only. No. Stop it. Stop it. It's shame. If you are a chairman of IGAD, whether it's Ismail Wise or president of Kenya or president of Uganda, president of, chairman of African Union, all these, governmental organization, leaders in the region, please give South Sudan a break. We need to live with decency. We need that stability. Because you are actually becoming an enabler. You are enabling bad thing in our country. Because when you are enabled, the dictator, the bad thing that are happening, then actually you are impacting people negatively. And that's why our people continue to suffer. And that's why you leaders talk to them. You have that opportunity to be in the region, to interact with them. It's a good thing. It's a good thing. Now, Emirates is using South Sudan, and South Sudan becomes something else. And I'm not going to dwell on that today. I will make an episode for that. Learn from the IO. Learn from the SAWA. Learn mistake that had happened. Always, we need to learn from the mistake. Don't do the same thing and expect a different result. If you do what IO has done, it's not going to be a different result. It's going to be the same result. And you don't want that, and I don't want that. And people who are suffering don't want that. Okay? Don't do the same thing because it's going to be the same result. Do something different that will give us a positive result to get out of this mess that we are in. Otherwise, there is no need. Freedom of expression should be the top priority. on that table of negotiation. And if some people are fatigued, okay, let them go in. But they will realize that they're making a big mistake. Thank you for listening. And please share this live broadcast on Facebook, email, WhatsApp, and don't forget also to subscribe our channel on YouTube, John Cormayol. Subscribe it so many who are not able to be here, they'll be able to get our message later. Thank you. May God bless you there on the table of negotiation. May God bless the Republic of South Sudan. And I believe that good thing will come to the people of South Sudan, no matter how hard it is. But we must wake up for that call. Thank you so much. Have a good night.
Free from slavery, free from slavery, free yourself from mental slavery, free yourself from mental slavery, free yourself from mental slavery, free from slavery, free from slavery. Yeah.
We're here to speak the word. We're here to stop the war. We're here to speak the word. We're here to stop the war. We're here to speak the word. We're here to stop the war.
Salam alaikum, assalamu alaikum.